Hey guys, Jehuty here with another Tekken 7 101 video, and today I want to talk about sidestep blocking. So this is a follow-up to my sidestep guide which I put out before, and yeah, there'll be a couple of tips at the end of this video which I forgot to mention, and so stick around for that. However, I still consider sidestep blocking an advanced technique, that's why it has its own separate video. So sidestep blocking by itself is kind of simple. So you just execute a sidestep by pressing either up or down to move into the foreground or into the background, and then you can cancel that at any time by pressing back to block. You can also do a low block by cancelling it with down back as well, and you can also execute this out of a sidewalk. So you cancel the sidewalk at any given time by pressing back. However, the emphasis is on sidestep block, so we'll be focusing on sidestepping in this video. So the first reason in this video why people utilize sidestep, of course, is also the primary one, to figure out what moves by which character are actually steppable in what direction. You see, every character has a weak side to them, however that doesn't mean that all of their moves don't track in that direction. So for instance, we have Devil Jin here, who is a Mishima, and you normally want to sidestep or sidewalk Mishima's sidestep left, right? So into the background in this case. But as you're seeing, his forward 2 actually tracks to that side. However, by utilizing the sidestep guard, I can sidestep and still block. So now I come onto the idea, oh, it's time to, sidestep right instead, and I realize that this is the way to go for this specific move. And yeah, that means that as soon as I get comfortable with that, by the next time this move comes out, I can actually sidestep launch it. So the other reason why you'd want to utilize sidestep blocking is to discourage retaliation and also limit your opponent's options after you utilize your own attacks, which are still safe. So we have Lee's forward 3. Technically it's not safe, however with the pushback it's still safe. And all we're doing here is adding a sidestep right afterwards. So this means that all the linear moves Hwoarang has, like forward 4, will miss. Even if we mess up the timing, we're still safe because we're blocking. So what will happen eventually is that the Hwoarang player realizes that, oh, he cannot utilize linear attacks after you utilize that certain attack, right? Because you're sidestepping. Another example we have here is Devil Jin, who despite the pushback could actually be in range to use his Hell Sweep mix-up. However, by sidestep blocking, we negate that option entirely. Same also goes for Kazuya because he's also a Mishima. Keep in mind that Heihachi's Hell Sweep does track to both sides still since the 3.33 update. And yeah, we also can use Kazuya for other examples, such as he can utilize his Power Crush or his forward 2 if he wants to push you back. So he has space to mix you up. However, with this, once again, you're negating all options. Lastly, you also have his Axe Kick, which you can normally use to pressure you because it has plus frames on block. And once again, we can utilize sidestep blocking to negate this. So the next layer to this is that your opponent has now picked up that you're sidestepping their options. So they want to retaliate with a homing attack. However, you're still cancelling your sidestep by pressing back to block, so you will block their homing move, and in the case of Maven here, she will eat a punish off of this. Not every homing attack is necessarily punishable, so keep that in mind, so your mileage will vary on that. And that about covers all the points. However, there's this thing I still want to stress about sidestep blocking. It may sound simple enough, but I consider it an advanced technique because you still have to be familiar with characters and their moves so that you know how they end, so that you also press back in the right time. Because if you just press sidestep and immediately back afterwards, you're not really sidestepping, so you might as well just block. This takes time and practice, and it's not a cure for all. Anyway, that about does it for that. I want to now talk about the little tips I forgot to mention in my previous video. So the first thing you need to know is that not all sidesteps are equal. So for instance, on the left here we have Eddie, who notoriously in this game has the worst sidestep of all characters. So he really struggles to step characters in comparison to others. And then we have Lily on the other hand, which people say has one of the best, if not the best sidestep in the game, maybe before Fakumram was nerfed in that regard. And yeah, apart from that, we also have hitboxes being a factor. So you have characters like Panda and Kuma, and they have a big hitbox, so despite having a decent sidestep, given the fact that they have a big hitbox means that they can still be hit by stuff which normally wouldn't hit other characters, so you'd also want to maybe utilize sidestep. Guard for those characters, same goes for Jack as well. And yeah, now I come to the last tip. So the last tip is that you cannot sidestep into the foreground if you're put into crouch. So yeah, that means if you're put into crouch, if you tap down, you will not step into the foreground. You can only step into the background out of crouch. Now you'd think, why does this matter? In certain matchups, so for instance Sorang here, you know this very well. He utilizes his rage drive, his first one, puts you in crouch, and follows up by pressing back 2, which also puts you into crouch. Now, the second attack can be sidestepped left, no problem, so if you're on player 1 side, you can just easily step out of this trap and yeah, retaliate on your own. However, if you're on player 2 side, yeah, then when you're put into crouch, you now can't sidestep left because you're on player 2 side. You can't step into the foreground. You could sidestep right this, but it's easier to do it if you're sidestepping left, so that is the preferred way to deal with it. So that about concludes my video. If you liked it, leave a like. Of course, consider sharing and subscribing because that really helps me. And yeah, look into the channel. There are a ton of other guides and change logs for Season 4 and also for the 4.1 update on the characters. And yeah, this is your boy Jehuty, and I'll see you on the next one.